Hi loves, I hope you're all doing well. I hope that June treated you well and not too much has been exposed or, broken down with so many more planets motioning retrograde. But let me know in the comments down below what word kind of really summed up June for you. Okay, so obviously the style of this reading is not how I even imagined. Now that, my chart isn't so vigorously activated, I should be able to do normal horoscopes starting next month. So I hope that this podcast style reading is okay for you. So essentially, obviously, we're going to just walk through. I'm going to be walking you through the month of July, touching on the astrology, my own intuitive insights for the month for your personal sign. Check your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. When it comes to the astrology, I feel, well, it depends. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So definitely there is this feeling in July about feeling exposed, right? We're still in eclipse transition season, right? So we're still in this transitional phase as we're wrapping up and finalizing the karmic build-up of Cancer Capricorn while embarking upon the abundant and exuberance of Gemini Sagittarius eclipses, right? So whenever the nodes dealing with fate and karma reach those last few degrees of a sign and the beginning degrees of a sign, this is like potent energy, okay? And it really can give that vibe of exposure. It's like cracking an egg open to reveal the goo inside, right? Once Pandora's box has been opened, it's impossible to, shut it away. After all, you can't uncrack an egg, right? So the planetary vibes for this month. So as we begin, and I like to look at, sunrise and kind of like where the planets are to really get a tone or a notion as to what this month can bring. And July 1st, we have the sun in Cancer pressing up upon, Mercury retrograde, okay? With the moon, the ruler of the sun, okay, the ruler of the chart, really, like the moon is in Scorpio and it's opposing Uranus. So when we're having Scorpio Uranus vibes, this is again a very expository vibe that we're experiencing, right? Mercury is still going to be retrograde until July 12th in the sign of Cancer, and when Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Cancer, we can find ourselves even exposing ourselves, exposing things from the past. Now usually in true Mercury fashion, it happens accidentally. The past gets brought up and then it gets dragged out into the open, and we discover things that we discover something and we kind of are faced with remembering it in a way that actualizes what really actually happened. So words like accountability are really strong for the month of July, especially, when we're looking at Saturn re-emerging back into the sign of Capricorn to join with Pluto and Jupiter for the new moon, okay, that's going to happen at the latter degrees of Cancer towards the end of the month. But Mercury is the messenger, okay? He travels between realms to get you the information that you need, okay? Mercury retrograde in Cancer unveils the part of you that needs to be heard, the part of you that needs to be healed, okay? So Cancer deals with things that, weigh heavy on our hearts. Emotions tend to be heightened, repressed memories resurface. There are memories and themes surrounding that sense of belonging, childhood, and the past, right? The inner child is almost throwing a tantrum with all of this energy and all of this, stuff that is being projected onto Cancer right now as we're wrapping up a big cycle. Things don't go to plan, and it can make you feel like a child again, feeling completely out of control, feeling controlless. And, the thing is, right, we have to remember Mars is in Aries, okay? This is crucial that we remember we can only control ourselves. We do not get to control the way that other people respond to us, our emotions, our actions, our thoughts, our feelings. We don't get to control that, okay? So July really is about owning up and showing up for yourself. It's about listening and hearing what you've not allowed, you've not allowed yourself to hear before. It's about owning all that you are, not just the parts of you that you feel are or will be deemed worthy. July can expose themes around parenthood and acknowledging the parts of us that are not necessarily our own, but have been imprinted upon us with, the generational patterns that are passed on through us from our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents and those early life experiences, because when a baby comes in, a baby isn't born racist, a baby isn't born with hate in its heart, a baby isn't born selfish, a baby isn't born any of these things. A baby, for the first 7 years of your life, you learn and you imitate and you imprint like a psychic sponge, Cancer sponge, right? You kind of, you take on, the karmas and the stuff of, your parents, because they are your first understanding of the world. And, so it's kind of like your past influence forges who you are, but your responding actions or reactions, that's all you right now, right? Because I'm sure nobody listening to this is a child, right? So nobody is to blame for what you do but you. Okay, so with many planets that are in retrograde this month, okay, we're being forced to look back, way back, and to right and heal the wrongs that have been made and have been done, right? Because Cancer, Capricorn eclipses, they only come about every 18 years. And the cycle is even more significant because we have planets that have been together, they haven't been together for hundreds of years, and now they're coming back in. So it's bringing those karmas from that time period of when they were together last, which is big, which is why big stuff is happening right now. It has to happen. It has to feel uncomfortable. It has to feel these ickiness, right? It has to feel this way, uncomfortable, in order to pave the way for change, right? Because nothing new can be built on something old. You have to destroy it, right? You have to destroy what was once there in order to rebuild. Otherwise you have, you end up with root rot and stuff that will just it's just not good, right? So we can definitely clearly see, looking at the astrology, that there is an imbalance with power dynamics, right? Saturn, when it was in Aquarius, obviously it will enter back into Aquarius permanently in December again. But we, the people are realizing power lies within us all along, right? The people that we elect, into positions of power, fame, and influence are only there because we put them there. With support, with attention, with our money, with purchases. And as quick as we give our time, our energy, and our money, we can decide not to. And the only person that you can control, again, this is a Mars and Aries issue, is you, right? You need to not only speak your standard, but you need to live it. You need to also take action upon it. You can't hide from yourself right now. That is literally impossible with the planetary energy that's going on. And people around you, we're all seeing people for who they really are, and if you live in your authenticity, there's nothing to fear because you're not hiding from the shadow of yourself, right? You're not hiding from yourself. But those who live in the realm of make-believe and are consumed by the external, and there is no judgment. I don't say that with judgment in my heart, not at all. Everything happens for a reason. It's a part of your life experience and your life journey. But living in the Neptunian realms of social media, it can be a time where that mask will slip because literally everything is recorded. Everything, there are receipts, right? There's receipts for everything, and we're going to see an uprise in those receipts when it comes to those things. And a lot of it is bringing the past back up. The past is being resurrected, with that Pluto looking at that new moon, a lot of those things are coming back to the surface. So as I said, okay, July has this element of a continual exposure, and I sense that the information, correspondences and miscommunications are still highly likely for the month of July, but the central vibe is in and surrounding change, okay? Sudden and unexpected, out of the box, shocking stuff coming to light this month. So whatever is revealed, it will alter everything for you. you know. So once you know something, once you learn something, it's like a domino effect in your brain, right? Everything starts to get rewired in a sense. So it can change your home, it can change your family dynamics, it can change your beliefs about someone or something. It can even change or bring about a change in about, you know, your careers or your ambitions as a result of the events that unfold in July. You might discover or learn or explore something that changes things for you. But honestly, like, what I'm seeing is a flip on the script that is your life, be it in love, home, work, or even yourself somehow. But I also have to add that whatever happens is somehow supposed to happen. There's a touch of destiny about it. The nodes are involved, destiny is upon us, right? So I know some of the things that I've already mentioned about July, if you've made it this far into the reading, they can seem a little bit triggering. I only tell you what I see and what I sense, and I assure you that there's a lot here that is aligning you to your purpose this month. Sometimes shocking events need to happen to trigger us into action, to make the change, to move and shake things up. And a lot of what I feel will build, and perhaps it might not even culminate until we get into November this year. But significant things are happening in July to inspire action and change. So, you know, whatever you wanted, you know, you might decide this month that you don't want it anymore. Mercury goes direct, and, you know, so, you know, if you have been making bad choices, falling back into past behaviors, habits, relationships, etc., right? You might, in the second part of this month, discover nothing's actually changed at all. And those old problems, they're all still there. Now, I do have a link in the information box below if you want to check out more about your personal Mercury retrograde transit. But now let's move on to the month of July, right? If you would like me to, you know, look at all of this for you in a personal session, feel free to check out my services. I will also leave a link in the cards and in the information box below. Hi Sagittarius, suns, moons and rising signs. So your video, like Scorpios and Libras, got corrupted, which is why it's not up. Now, I'm totally of the belief that everything happens for a reason, so I can't even remember what I even said in those videos, but perhaps those videos weren't all meant to go out. So I've shuffled some new cards and I'm re-looking at the astrology, and let's dive in. So there is a lot of focus over the course of July where you need to be focusing on yourself, okay? There's a lot of like introspection on you, focusing on what you need, focusing on what you feel, focusing on what you believe to be true. It's all about you this month, okay? Some months there's like a focus point that's pulling you in one area or another area, but this area is very much focusing all about you. Look to see which house your sun falls in, because that could have a big impact in regards to, you know, the kind of themes that might be manifesting and playing out, and then assess when the moon will be transiting through that house, because that can really bring some of these things to light. That being said, I do feel like the theme, you know, the theme of July, what I see are like birds. And when I think of birds, I think of Twitter, I think of social media. And so when it comes to the month of July, at least, there's a lot here around information. There's a lot here around communication and gossip and the back and forth and the vocalization of thoughts and opinions. And that's an important thing to distinguish upon, because I do feel like when I'm thinking of birds, if you have interactions with birds, they're pretty nervous, twitchy little creatures, right? They can get very nervous, and so that can bring up a little bit of anxiety, and there could be a lot of negative talk kind of going around and surrounding you, whether that is in your social groups, whether that is online, whether that is just general conversations are taking a more negative turn. And I mean, Sagittarius, you are the people of hope and optimism to some extent. Obviously, it does depend on, you know, the big three: your rising sign, your moon, and your sun sign. But I just feel like, what's the expression? There's an expression that says something like, a truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent. And I feel like this is key. This is something that is fundamental for the month of July for you. And I do feel like a lot of this chatter, a lot of this is for your own peace of mind. It's about looking for the truth yourself, finding the facts for yourself, because what is being said, there is something that is not so clear right now. It's not clear. Mercury's retrograde until the 12th, and then he's in his shadow period. We've got all of these planets retrograde, right? Things are not clear right now. The truth is not clear right now. And so I feel like this is, in some ways, this is really important for you to seek the truth for yourself. You are truth seekers. You want to explore it for yourself. So explore it. Don't listen and believe every single thing that you hear. Find the facts for yourself. You know, I do feel like if you are of the habit, I mean, because obviously like this focus is on you, like the energy when I was tuning into you is about you. So this could be about reassessing certain lifestyle habits perhaps over the course of this month. And I mean, it doesn't even have to play out like that. I just feel like there is gossip kind of going around. It could be about something that, to be perfectly honest, has a certain level of importance. It's not something, it's like something that is being seen as like something that's serious, but people are just throwing it around like it's nothing, you know. So there is this element of importance with what is being shared, and it's just about you being conscientious over that matter, right? It's about you seeking the truth for yourself. And if you don't like certain, because here's the thing, right? Mercury's retrograde in the sign of Cancer. This is a really exposing type of energy that comes around every 7 years or so. And it is a time where people really struggle to keep their mask on. It's a time where people's truest selves are revealed. Like, you see people for who they are. They can't keep it down or hide it. And you can't blame it on Mercury retrograde either, right? This is people as they are. And so it's kind of like you being able to evaluate, you know, and see people's clear motivations of why they say what they say and what's the reasoning behind that. And it's enabling you to basically choose better friends, or to choose people that, you know, uplift you, that make you feel good, rather than being around people who spread lies and gossip that maybe has more truth that's connected to them, like a projection, right? Because as much as people are trying to expose other people, in some ways they're inadvertently exposing themselves to a certain extent. I do feel like this month in general, though, it is going to create a little bit of confusion, some delays, not being able to see, you know, where things are going. It's kind of like, goh, it's like a grey day that is just not subsiding. It's like a needing to wait. It's a needing to wait before you can see the reality or the truth to a circumstance or a situation. Now, I also feel that you need to not compare yourselves right now, okay? Don't compare yourselves with other people, because that's just drawing in more negativity. I mean, your ruling planet is retrograde, and let me check, it's retrograde until September 13th, I believe. It's around September, mid-September, and when we look at where that is, where that's falling, it's falling within your second house of everything that you have, comparing, you know, your value to what other people are projecting or sharing with what they may have, right? And obviously with Mercury going retrograde in your 8th house, and you can check out what Mercury retrograde means for your specific transit if you want to look at your sun, your moon, your rising. I'll leave a link down below in the information box, and you can check that out. But there is a need to assess, you know, what is it that you give, what it is that you gain, what it is, and like you might be just like comparing, you know, what does this person give and what do they get as a result of that. It's just kind of like you're in your kind of mind space right now, and there could be issues that are, I don't know, like just like it feels like a lot of this maybe stemmed back in June that is being brought forth, that is being brought forward for this month, where you might feel like you're not as far ahead as other people are. You're not doing this like other people are. Like there's all of this kind of comparing yourself to others, and to be perfectly honest, that is only drawing more negativity to you, which you don't want, and you don't need that, you know, in your life, right? I also kind of feel like, you know, it's almost like when I like dig a little bit deeper, you know, there's almost like this, like you feel compelled to take on this challenge. You feel compelled to do something, like you feel impelled to, you know, take charge and to take action on something. But I also feel like as well, you know, the outcome of you doing that, you know, it's cloudy. It's not like you can't see the full, like you can't see something, like you're missing something, right? There's something here that you're missing. And so it might be wise for you under this influence, you know, to really maybe dig a little bit deeper, maybe do your own research, maybe talk to people who are older, people, you know, gaining a different spectrum of experiences, right? Because I feel like there is things that you don't know, and, you know, taking someone's word for something, that's not fact. That's their opinion, that's their experience perhaps, and you don't fully know, unless you have like lots of Scorpio in your chart, right? You don't fully know like if this person is being sincere, if they're being honest, and you need to question as well, like what is the reason for them expressing this story, telling you this thing. You know, there's a lot of stuff that is being said, but as much as it can like open people up for, like, you know, opening your awareness to certain things, don't feel like everything is like, it's almost like it's like a giant umbrella term, right? Let's just say, like, in terms of like, for like example, like witchcraft, right? That's a big umbrella. There are lots of different factions and different types of witchcraft and different types of groups, and not all people believe in the same thing, right? But it's this giant umbrella term. So with regards to whatever socially is compelling you to take action, or something, you know, that you feel passionate towards, I would just say hold back and question, because not all groups, not all people in this sector believe the same thing or have the same objective or goal, you know, for the end result. And until you really fully understand, you know, the group that, you know, you may be wanting to get involved with, and, you know, whatever this is, there's a lot here surrounding like the people that you're connected with, whether it is like, you know, on social media, whether it is in person. Like there is like this idea behind something that you don't see about this group, this community, that you need to see. And once you have done your own research, question the sources of the information that you've been given, only then will you kind of be presented with this fork in the road, because there are aspects and elements of whatever this is that you are completely unaware of, right? You're completely unaware of. And I just feel like you need more information, right? And this is just kind of like the mundane of what's like really manifesting in the physical around you. When I look at kind of like things that are going to transpire from this moving forward, I feel like it's almost like whatever it is that you're working towards, whatever it is that you're hoping for, there's more information, more study that is required, perhaps a change that has to be implemented with that. And it just feels like something is being put on hold, something is being delayed temporarily. It's not going to be like long term, because there's more that you have to research, there's more that you have to understand. Like, let's say like you're looking for a mentor with regards to something that you want to learn, something that you're interested in, right? You need to get I don't want to say like receipts, but like you need to make sure that the person that you're investing in actually has the capacity to actually teach what it is that you want to know, right? There's lots of people, I mean, even just like within my community, well, I don't really class myself as in any community, to be honest, but like if you wanted to put me in a box, like if you like was to say like astrology, for example, or even tarot readers, right? You have people that claim to be masters and experts in their field that may have only been studying or working within that realm for a short period of time. Anyone who studies astrology knows that you could be studying it your entire life and you still would not be an expert in the realm of astrology, right? You might be able to be really good in one sort of particular area or something like that, but that's, you know, we're talking decades of study that, you know, promote that, and yet you have people who are selling, you know, courses and astrology things, you know, in terms of putting them in a position of I'm a teacher, I know everything, when in actuality they're still in a very learning phase, and a lot of what they learn right now is likely, if they're continuing on with their study, is likely to evolve and change as, you know, as they grow. So yeah, like you want to just make sure that the people that you're investing in, the groups that you're investing in, actually have, like, you know, they're actually, like, they're not just painted in a certain way, that they actually are that thing, if that makes any sense. It sounds so confusing. Yeah, so that's what I would say. I know personally, like, I've been reading cards since I was a kid. Like, I mean, my first deck of cards, I think I was only about 12, 13. I think I was 12 when I got really into like tarot and stuff like that. And like, I still wouldn't class myself as an expert in that. I think I'm pretty intuitive, but that's something that I was born with. You know, I've always been this weird, creepy kid ever since I was a little kid. But card reading for other people, that began at age 12, and I've been consistently reading for people ever since, you know, but that does not make me an expert. And when I went and sought out, you know, because I'm always looking for teachers, and this is something that I've learned, you know, make sure that you're questioning them and that you're not just going off of their like social media standing, if you will, because somebody has a lot of followers, it does not mean that they are the right fit for you or that they are as good as they say that they are. You know, because when things become trendy, you know, the real meat of stuff gets lost and the quality gets lost amongst that. Because I know that when I was looking for like a tarot teacher, because up until that point I was very much, you know, a gypsy fortune teller or oracle card reader, and I would dabble with different things, and I had no system. I would just draw cards and start spouting off things that were like coming through to me, right? Which obviously were beneficial to the people that I was reading for. But I wanted to learn, like really learn, and going through those experiences from multiple different teachers, like they were giving me very basic fundamental type things, you know, and it didn't develop me the way that I wanted to. So I guess right here, right now, you know, when it comes to the things that you're seeking to learn, make sure that a teacher, a mentor is the right fit for you, right? And yeah, I'm just going to leave that as that. So thank you so much for listening to me. I apologize for getting this out late to you. As I wanted to mention, and I've mentioned it in, you know, a few readings, my readings are always done intentionally. I always set the intention that my readings are only ever found by those who need to hear them or find them organically. Obviously, this reading might not have relevance for all Sagittarians who, you know, who are shared this. But yeah, like if this message is meant for you, you'll feel it. And if it's not, then maybe I'm not the right reader for you, or maybe this particular message was not intended for you. So be safe, be well. Remember that everything happens for a reason. Follow the stars and always trust your vibes. Have a blessed July.